Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
You know that you've heard Roberta HLADEK before. She's co-founder of Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness, which we say EMC² because it's energy. Energy is everywhere. We know that. And we're thinking more and more about energy as we are looking at our global situation and what's happening with our Earth. And I just heard that there was this huge, out in the Midwest, another big, they don't have hurricanes, but they have tornadoes and all sorts of things are happening. And so we have to start thinking about it, but it's really caused by energy. The astronauts know all about the energy out there, but somehow our politicians don't get it. So, and I know that has nothing to do with the energy that you're seeing, and maybe it does. On a computer, you do see things that are full of energy, and that's what makes the computer go up and down. I guess you have to explain that better because that's not anything that I know about. But Roberta, I'm talking like, my mouth is just going, but I'm not saying much. So you're going to have to jump in here and help me.
You're doing fine.
Let's talk about energy and what the computer does for you.
Well, when I'm testing someone, which is what we do, we test a photograph to see what their energetic life force is and to see what it is that they're balancing or not balancing or what's going on with them, depending on what their issues are. The computer is it's a computer, so it's going to make noise. So that tells me if I have a positive or a negative. And a positive is kind of a low sound, and a negative is a very high sound. And I have a graph, and it will either go all the way to 100 or it will stop halfway. If it stops halfway, that tells me that I have a positive, meaning if I was testing someone for, say, depression, and it was positive, it would have a low sound or it would go halfway. So that's kind of what I see as far as the energy goes with what I'm testing.
But you don't know what it really is, do you? I mean, you know something's wrong, but can you put your finger on what that particular illness is?
As long as it's within my database. And if it's not in the database, then it'll let me know that there's something not in the database but positive in this person. So then what I have to do is I have to find out what that frequency is. And we have a proprietary program that helps me determine what that frequency is. And then once I get that, it's an algorithm. Once I get that, then I have to find out what is it similar to. Is it similar to something in the database? And then if it is, then I have to find out what that is, and then what's the emotional component to that. When we're not feeling good, we always have an emotion. And I know for myself, when I'm catching a cold or something like that, a few days before, I'm usually overwhelmed. And I don't usually get overwhelmed because I have the same schedule almost every day. Sometimes it's a little heavier than others, but I pretty much know what I'm doing. But I know that some days, if I'm not right on my mark, I'll feel overwhelmed. And that's kind of my cue in my head to say, better take more vitamins, better sleep a little bit more, better try and, cut things out of my schedule so I'm not so stressed or whatever it happens to be.
Well, at least you listen to your body, don't you?
Well, we try.
Yeah, well, no, but that's a good point that you just brought up. So I was saying to Roberta before we got on the air, that your organization really has done an awful lot for people that usually it's the children of who have autism or Down syndrome or other kinds of challenges that really are, I guess, something coming from the brain. And of course, we know that energy is everywhere, whether it's in the brain or in the heart or in the lungs, but we never talk about it like that. We always see it as other kind of physical problems. So you delve into it in a different way, don't you?
Yes, we, based on, it started with Wayne Dyer, who is passed on, but he was one of our really close friends. And Wayne was talking to us one day, and he said, I have this little girl that her mom brought her to hear me speak, and she has autism. Is there anything you can do for that? And we hadn't really thought about it. This was years and years ago. And so we started delving into autism and the frequencies and to see what was going on. So we started a scholarship program, and we started it with Wayne. And what the scholarship program is if there is a child and there's also adults that suffer from autism, we give them a free program if we find it energetically as well. And sometimes the frequencies are different, and it doesn't come up that way, but pretty much most of the time it does. And then what we do is we put this child or adult on our program free of charge, but what we request from the caretaker, parent, guardian, whoever, that they give us quarterly reports. And the reason that we ask for that is we want to make sure that we're helping this person to the best of our ability. So what we do is if they say, gee, the child or the adult is having an angry outburst, then we want to see, is it something in the database, or is it something that we don't have in there that we can have put in there that will also help facilitate their self-healing? And so that's kind of what we do, and we've done some really great work with the kids and the adults. We've got some great testimonials on our website. If you go to the website under testimonials and you go to the tag words and you click on autism, it'll bring you up all kinds of testimonials of the children and adults that are on our program.
So is it your energeticmatrix.com or is it AIM?
Well, either one will get you there, but aimprogram.com is the easiest, I think.
Okay.
And it's just aimprogram.com. And that'll take you to our website, and then there's a bar across the top, the toolbar. Just click on testimonials, and we've got some beautiful testimonials from children and adults that are doing fabulous on our program.
Well, tell us exactly what happens. I mean, you get them on the program, as you have. I've been on your program. My dog's in your program. My deceased husband's been on your program. But tell me what actually starts to happen. What are they telling you?
Well, when we check, first of all, when we get someone new coming on the program, say we have a child or an adult that they want tested for autism so they can be on our scholarship program, I'm testing their life force, which is their ability, our inner strength. And some people call it chi, and there's all kinds of words for it. But it's your inner energy. It's your strength to overcome everyday stresses and strains and diseases and colds and flus and what have you. And so we're testing that. And we need to remember that the life force reading doesn't mean how healthy we are, because we've had people that are very, very ill but may have a life force of 100, which is optimum. That's just their inner strength to fight. So we check that, and then we also check to see, are they positive for the frequencies of autism? And there's also a subcategory called Asperger's, and we check that as well. And sometimes those are positive and sometimes they're not. But if they're positive, then we put them on the program. And once they're on the program, they have the same energies that we all have to pick and choose from to help them to self-heal and feel a little bit better. And what it does is it kind of chips away at all those hereditary dispositions that we have, and everything's kind of in a layering effect. So there isn't just one frequency for autism, and you clip that and you're good to go. There's a lot of different aspects and different things that contribute to those feelings or those challenges.
Mm. Well, it's wonderful what you do, and I don't know of another organization. Is there another organization like yours? I don't know.
I don't think I haven't heard of one recently, but I'm sure that at some point in time there'll be others that come up and try to use technology similar to us.
I was worried the other day when I was hearing about so many people being hacked in companies. I'm sure that you are very well positioned and you've been backed up that nothing happens to what you've created.
No, we have the same threats as anybody else, and thank God we have my business partner, Evan, who is our technical wizard, and he is the one that takes care of all the security and making sure that our systems are backed up every day and that we don't have any of those challenges. And he does send us out emails. We get them from time to time saying, be careful, don't open things. We don't open attachments. We're very, very careful because it would be devastating.
Is that how things come in attachments?
Yeah, pretty much. He's always telling us, do not open things that you don't know.
So
who
maybe,
it's from.
yeah, but when you get an email and you just click on the email, that's not an attachment. Is that okay?
We don't open any emails of anyone that we aren't sure we know what it's about.
Interesting.
That just as a good practice for us.
They now have where it's a person's name, and you know the person. When you open it up, it's not. It's something else.
Yeah.
So they're using people's names, so you know it. So what I've started doing in my subject, I always say, this is the real Anita Finley. Please help.
That's a good practice, though,
yeah.
Because then that way you make sure that your email information gets to whoever it's supposed to be and they open it.
Right. And the attachment part, that's interesting. So I was telling people maybe we should, you can actually take things that you attach and I guess you can cut and paste it and put it on the actual email.
Yeah.
Because it could be. And you see, for me, I'm very open about people sending me things because that's how I meet people over the that I need to know in our company. Anyway, it is something. But the energy that is coming, do you feel the energy in your home from what you do? Is it, if I went to your next door neighbor, would it be different than what you are in your office? I mean,
I think so because I've had people come in. We have our office on the program and we have our homes on the program. And I've known that people have come in and they go, gosh, your home, it feels so good in here. And it's not like, there's anything I don't have, I have all my feng shui and all my things that I do. And I have bouquets of flowers around. And I have two little cats that are running around and wanting to greet you when you come in the door and find out what you're all about and get in your purse or whatever. But, I have the usual, I have a nice home, but everybody says it's the energy in there. So, and I know from having my home on, here in Las Vegas, we have a winter and sometimes it gets very cold. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, in the summer, we get extremely warm and it's very dry. And I know my neighbor commented on my lawn and he said, how come your lawn never turns like colors? It's always looks so nice. And I said, well, it's my program, and he's talked to me about it before, and he looks at me really, kind of with a question in his head, and he goes, I get it. And I go, well, if you put your house on, and you put yourself on, look at the amazing things you can do.
Yeah, you're good at this. So getting back, though, to these people who have, I guess we should really call it, these are challenges they have, but are there other kinds of problems? Let's say someone has ALS. Would that be something that you are dealing with? We've never talked about that.
Well, we don't have a scholarship program for ALS. We just have scholarships for Downs and for autism.
But let's say there's no scholarship. Let's just say someone is on and they have ALS. Have you heard anything about that at all? That's a very tough disease.
Yes, it's very. I've heard of participants with it. I don't know that we have a testimonial on ALS, but let me take a look real quick. But we do have a lot of participants with different things, and a lot of times I don't even know what they have. I don't see right now I don't actually see anyone sending us a testimonial on ALS, but sure we probably have somebody on the program who has it. But a lot of times, like I said, when I get the applications and the photographs, I don't know what's going on with them. I have no clue.
Well, knowing Colleen Haney, who is one of your I don't know, what do you call Colleen? She is an energy
facilitator.
An energy facilitator.
Yeah.
Do you have many of them across the country? I mean, like how many would you say approximately?
We have them all over the world, and we have about 80.
Oh, my goodness.
Currently. Mm-hmm.
That was something he really... Is that something that Stephen built up? I mean, how did that all happen?
Well, when we first started, Stephen and I started in 1987. Well, I started with him in 1987, and he was in private practice. And then when we moved into the AIM program in 1999 and we brought Evan on, we had a couple of participants actually came in and said, and they kind of promoted what we did, and they said, we should be facilitators for you, and they kind of coined the word. And then it kind of blossomed from there, because it's usually, we don't go out and try and find facilitators. It's participants that are on the program that really enjoy the program, understand the program, and they want to spread the word of the program, and so that's what they do. And then when sometimes people come to our website and say, hey, I want to know more information, then we can put them in touch with someone who can directly talk to them about it and help them through the process.
I see. Yeah, because I know that she is very, very happy to be a part of this. Colleen does, of course, has her own practice, but this is a part of it, and I just wish more people would join. I don't know what we could do to wave the flag more for them to get on this, because it's such a miraculous, remarkable way to do nothing. I mean, you have my picture. Mm-hmm. I don't do anything.
Well, you actually are. You just don't.
Oh.
You're not. You're doing it subconsciously.
Oh, is that what I am?
You're working on yourself.
I see. I'm working. I am.
Yeah, but it's really nice, because back in the day we had to take drops. We had to take bottles. And it was really difficult. A lot of people found it so difficult during the day to remember to take their drops. They were setting timers and
all this
stuff, so that they had to take their drops 3 times a day or every half hour, depending on what was going on.
Uh-huh.
Some you only took every other night, and they would have charts and all this stuff. And they were so thrilled when they could get rid of their drops and they didn't have to do it. They were like, oh, this is great. So we've got it easy now, and we also bip through this stuff a lot faster than we used to, and we've really expanded it, and the technology is way better. It's much more powerful, and it does more than just diseases and illnesses and stuff. We have positive affirmations. I'm working on weight loss.
Oh, you are?
Things, and we're working on anti-aging. And normally when we think of anti-aging, we think of gray hair, wrinkles, all that stuff.
Right.
But we're talking about your organs. How are they aging? We want them to stay in optimum running, working order, so that because we are living longer, we want to live a better, live great for that time that we're living, right? So that's part of it. My weight loss stuff, I've been working with that because maybe it's the time of the year, I don't know, but a lot of people have come to me and said, hey, 3 friends of mine have said, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm having the hardest time, I'm on a diet, I'm exercising, I'm doing everything. What can I do? So I've checked them, and in the last 3 months, these 3 people have contacted me separately, and we've been finding things in the thyroid, also in the pancreas, and we've been putting those on the program.
Huh.
And these 3 people have dropped weight finally. They're saying, oh, this is great. Finally, it's working. We're clicking. We're feeling it. And I was really shocked because they've been on the program for a while, and they don't always tell me what's going on with them.
Right.
And so they finally, I got calls, and they said, hey, we've been reading the newsletter, and we see this. And one guy's dropped 35 pounds.
Really?
And another female has dropped 15, and another man has dropped about 22 pounds in the last few months.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they've been doing really, really well, and it's, their diet, their exercise, and their, and they're trying not to call it a diet. They all three told me it's just making better choices, cutting out the sodas, cutting out a lot of sugar and processed foods, and trying to eat more vegetables and a little more fish and less red meat, and all, the usual stuff that we know. But they're all saying it's working, it's doing great, we're happy, because it makes you feel better if you've ever had to try and lose weight, when you're working on it and you see progress. It makes you just want to keep going.
Yes, it does. And so this is something that you've just now come up with, which sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm trying.
Do you go out and do lectures there in your area?
I'm thinking of starting that back up again. We didn't for a while when everything was going more internet stuff and people didn't want to come out to events. They wanted to do more on the conference calls, which tonight I have what we call a founder call, and it'll be me tonight. And we're going to talk about what's been going on with the program in the last year, and we always like to hear people come on the program and tell us what's going on with them or ask a question. So it's all interactive. Very
nice. Yep. Well, that's what people, I think, everyone's looking for answers. Our political system is out of whack, and we don't know what's going to happen with the sun and the moon and the stars. So everyone's really hoping that something great will happen rather before a war or something that would be very negative. And I think this may be the time, isn't it? It may be. I know Stephen used to talk about this. He used to talk about what's going to happen was when I used to have him on the radio last winter. He said something's going to happen in the end of this year, and boy, didn't it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what he meant, but
a lot of changes we're going through as a country, as a world.
Yes.
And as human beings, I've noticed that everybody is kind of the last few months, everyone's been kind of anxious.
Depressed,
a lot of anxiety.
Anxious. That's right. Angry, anxious. Right, that's true.
And not really knowing, why or how to fix it.
Turn off the TVs.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of relationships are having some ups and downs, and, it's been difficult. So, the best thing to do is to just get out and enjoy the beautiful weather if you have it. Do something physical because it releases those endorphins, and it makes you feel a lot more positive. And if you're on AIM, that helps a lot, too, because we have a lot of the positive affirmations, and we have our life forces are high, so that helps us to make better choices, and opportunities come our way. And we're also more conscious, and you know how that does.
It's true. That's good. That's good. Well, let me tell everybody again. You're listening to Roberta HLADEK, HLADEK, who is a co-founder of the Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness, which we call EMC². And we used to talk to Stephen, who, of course, was one of the founders, Stephen Lewis, and he now is on some other plane somewhere, along with Bill and Wayne and all those great people. But the purpose of AIM is to find energetic imbalances in consciousness that EMC² believes to be the precursors of our predispositions for potential negative physical manifestations and impediments to higher consciousness. I'm reading that. I don't usually read, but I wanted to read it so people could understand sometimes, because I go on with Roberta as though everyone knows what we're talking about. And this is where everything's created and provides over 500,000 balancing energies to help the participant self-heal or remove those negative potentials in order to increase their life force, well-being, and consciousness. And that's a very big sentence. And I usually, as I say, I don't usually read things, but it's hard for me to just talk about that free form. This is something that if you are not happy with who you are and you want to make changes, you want to feel better, you ought to look at the AIM program. Just get on the internet. It's called aimprogram.com. and you'll see something. You'll see it's really not something you're going to hear about in conversations. It's unique, and I have been on this for many years. I believe in it so much because I believe in energy. Everything is energy, and we don't really get into that enough. I mean, astronauts will tell you about that, and people are doing unusual things, which I have seen, and I've been an observer of all this. But for most of a general population, you have no idea. So that's why I think this program, this time that I have with Roberta once a month, is extremely special because it takes you into a different plane, into a different place, and you're going to be able to hear about this. It's not every time you turn on the radio that you're going to hear someone who's so skilled as Roberta and you know about the AIM program. So that's why we dedicate this just 30 minutes to something that's, out of your sphere. What do you think of that, Roberta?
That was fabulous. That was fabulous.
Well,
I love it.
Well, it's true, though, isn't it? It's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not common, and that's
No.
why I like it so much, because it really does allow somebody to do that. Well, we've done it again, and I thank you so much, and we're just going to hold our breath for what's going on in our world, but we'll just keep doing what we do. I'm going in for some dental surgery on Monday, so I got to keep my life force right up there at 100.
There you go.
Thank you,
I love
Roberta.
dental surgery.
Oh,
Gosh.
you do?
No.
Okay, well, but it makes us, we have to have it when we have
Yes,
to have it. So
we
thanks
do.
again, and take care of yourself, and we'll talk.
Thank you.
All
You
right.
too.
Bye.
Have a good week.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye.